Welcome to the Parent Guide, helping your teen overcome pornography addiction. I'm your host, Matt Bulkley, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you're listening, you're likely navigating the challenging reality of your teen's struggle with pornography addiction. It's a topic that can bring up a lot of emotions, worry, frustration, maybe even shame, but you're not alone. And this podcast is here to offer guidance, hope, and practical steps to support your teen's recovery. Today, we're diving into a critical and often overlooked part of this journey, and that is the role of your self-reflection as a parent. Your experiences, your biases, and emotions can shape how you approach your teen struggle, and reflecting on those can make all the difference in creating a safe, healing environment. And we'll explore why self-reflection matters, how your past experiences influence your reactions, and practical ways to support your teen without letting your own baggage get in the way. Plus, we'll answer some common parent questions about navigating this sensitive issue. So settle in and let's get started. Let's start by setting the stage. Pornography addiction is a growing issue among teens. How many teens actually watch porn? Well, Covenant Eyes statistics found the following results. 73% of teens have consumed pornography. Most teens who view pornography have been exposed to aggressive and violent forms of pornography. 50% of teens, half of all teens, say they feel guilty or ashamed after watching online porn. The average age of first exposure is 11. Children exposed to pornography are more than 3 times as likely to engage in problematic sexual behavior. 45% of teens believe that pornography gives helpful information about sex. And 57% of teens have not discussed pornography with a trusted adult. So for some teens, this exposure to pornography can spiral into a compulsive habit or an addiction that impacts their mental health, their relationships, their self-esteem. And why is this so hard for teens? Well, it comes down to their developing brains. The prefrontal cortex, which handles impulse control and decision-making, it's not fully formed until the mid-20s. And this makes it tougher for teens to break free from addictive behaviors, even when they want to. Then you add in the accessibility of online content, and it's a perfect storm. As a parent, you are a key player in helping your teen to navigate this challenge. But here's the catch: your own emotions and experiences can complicate how you respond. Maybe you feel shocked or angry or even guilty when you discover your teen struggle. Those reactions are normal, but they can cloud your ability to support them effectively if you don't pause to reflect. So 3 of the most common challenges that I've encountered with parents are: 1, and typically it would be mothers who have had past trauma associated with pornography, whether it be betrayal by a spouse or in a previous relationship, or maybe it's having been a victim of sexual abuse themselves as a child by somebody who was struggling with the porn addiction, or having seen the damage that pornography addiction caused in their own families of origin. A second would be, and this would primarily be the fathers who are either currently struggling themselves with pornography addiction or have in the past, and then are torn between sharing the struggle with their teen or the worry that disclosing too much could be detrimental to their teen's recovery efforts. And then a third would be parents, both fathers and mothers, who struggle with being able to conceptualize pornography addiction outside of the focus of it being a major moral flaw or a sign of spiritual weakness, or who interpret the ongoing struggle rather than a quick recovery is simply just not doing enough spiritually to beat the addiction. And this tends to come from maybe their religious beliefs about pornography. So your beliefs about pornography, shaped by your upbringing, your culture, personal experiences, can influence whether you approach your teen with empathy or with judgment. For example, if you grew up in a household where sexuality was a taboo topic, you might feel uncomfortable even talking about it. Or if you've dealt with betrayal tied to pornography in your life, you might project those feelings onto your teen. Self reflection helps you to untangle these emotions so you can focus on what your teen needs, which is a safe, non judgmental space to work through their struggle. So let's talk about how your past shapes your responses and why that matters. So let's get personal for a moment. Your perspective on pornography doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's shaped by your life experiences. Maybe you have dealt with a partner's infidelity involving pornography, and that betrayal makes you feel angry or helpless when you learn about your teen struggle. Or perhaps your cultural or your religious background views have shown that pornography is inherently shameful, which can then lead you to unintentionally make your teen feel judged or unworthy. Or if you struggled with pornography yourself, you might feel conflicted, like you're not qualified to help your teen, or you might avoid the topic altogether to sidestep your own discomfort with it. And these are all understandable reactions, but they can create barriers to help your teen heal. For example, let's say that you react by lecturing your teen or setting overly strict rules out of fear, and that might push them away, making them less likely to open up. Or if you avoid the issue because it feels too heavy or uncomfortable, your teen might begin to feel isolated in their struggle. And the goal isn't to erase your emotions or experiences. It's part of who you are. The goal is to recognize how they influence your reactions so you can approach your teen with clarity and compassion. Now, here's a real life example. I recently did some work with a mother who, for a long time, had been unintentionally shaming her son, who is now a young adult and has struggled with his pornography addiction for several years. And she had been projecting negative emotions onto him, which unfortunately was part of what was fueling his addiction, until she realized that her harsh responses and lack of empathy to her son's addiction stemmed from her own unresolved pain from a past betrayal in a relationship. And once she was able to realize this, she worked through those feelings in her own therapy, and she was able to begin to change her approach with her son and have calmer, more productive conversations with him, which led to significant improvements in his efforts to get into recovery himself. Now, that's the power of self-reflection. It helps you to separate your story from your teen's needs. So how do you start reflecting? That's what we'll cover next. Self-reflection is about taking a step back to understand your own emotions, your biases, and triggers. And it's not about beating yourself up. It's about becoming a stronger guide for your teen. Now, here are 4 steps to get started. Number 1, identify your triggers. Ask yourself, what emotions come up when I think about my teen struggle? Are you angry? Are you scared? Are you ashamed? Write these down in a journal or talk them out with a trusted friend or a therapist. For example, if you feel intense fear, it might stem from a past experience like betrayal or societal pressure to fix your teen. And naming these triggers will help you to manage them. Second, challenge your biases. Reflect on where your views about pornography come from. Are they based on facts or assumptions? For instance, if you believe pornography is evil, you might unintentionally shame your teen instead of helping them to understand their addiction. Educate yourself about the science of the addiction. The Breaking Free workbooks provide up-to-date research on the neuroscience, brain chemicals, changes to the brain structure, And check out our YouTube videos on the neuroscience as well, as it can offer clarity on how these addictive and compulsive behaviors form and how they end up becoming a brain issue, not necessarily a moral issue. Third, process your own trauma. If past experiences like infidelity or your own struggles with pornography are affecting how you respond, consider seeking professional support yourself. Therapists can help you to work through these unresolved emotions so they don't spill into your interactions with your teen. And this isn't just for your teen's sake, it's for your own healing as well. And number 4, focus on your teen's needs. Your teen needs you to be a safe space where they can be honest without fear of judgment. Ask yourself, are my reactions encouraging openness, or are they pushing my teen away? And if you're not sure, try asking your teen directly. How can I support you in this? And remember, self-reflection isn't a one-time thing. It's an ongoing practice. But each step that you take makes you better equipped to guide your teen with empathy and understanding. So let's move on to some practical ways to put this reflection into action. So once you've done some self-reflection, you're in a better position to support your teen effectively. Here are 6 practical steps to help them navigate their recovery while keeping your own biases in check. So number 1, open the conversation with empathy. Start by showing that you care, not by accusations, not by disappointment, not by shame. Try something like, I've noticed that you're struggling and I want to work through this together. This sets a collaborative tone, shows your teen that you are on their side. Number 2, educate yourself about addiction. As we just mentioned, knowledge is power. Resources like the Breaking Free workbooks or the parent library that we have on the therapyassociates.net website under the blog link can help you to understand how addiction works and what recovery looks like. The more you know, the less likely you are to take your teen struggle personally. Number 3, set boundaries without shame. Work with your teen to create rules like installing content filters or limiting device time. Frame these as protective measures, not punishments. For example, say, we're setting these limits to help you focus on what matters to you instead of, well, you can't be trusted with your phone. Number 4, encourage professional support. Suggest therapy or family counseling. Our online recovery group that we run at Therapy Associates is a great starting point, but an individual therapist can provide tailored support for your teen. And if their addiction is severe or paired with issues like depression or risky safety issue behaviors, a program like Star Guides offers intensive intervention. Number 5, model healthy coping mechanisms. Teens learn by watching you. Show them healthier ways to handle stress like exercising, journaling, mindfulness, talking through problems. Share your own strategies to normalize these habits. For example, you might say, well, when I'm stressed, I go for a walk to clear my head. What is it that helps you? Demonstrate responsible management of your own use of technology and avoid making yourself a hypocrite by implementing strict rules on technology while you yourself are spending hours every day engaging with the screen. And then lastly, number 6, check your language. Words matter. Avoid terms like dirty or disgusting, which can shame your teen and make them withdraw. Instead, focus on the impact of their behavior. Say things like, well, I'm concerned about how this might affect your mental health, to keep the focus on their well-being. And these steps create a supportive environment where your teen feels understood and empowered to work toward recovery. So 2 common questions that tie in today's topic. First question is, should I disclose to my son that I struggled with a pornography addiction? And I think it's a great question. It's one many parents, particularly fathers, wrestle with. And sharing your own experience it can be powerful, but it depends on a few factors. The pros would be that disclosing can build trust and show your team that they're not alone. It models accountability, normalizes the struggle, which can reduce shame. For example, saying, well, I've been through something similar and here's what helped me, can strengthen your connection and offer hope. The cons on the flip side, sharing too soon or without processing your own emotions could overwhelm your teen or make them feel like that they're carrying your burden, or it could lead them to justify their continued use. And if you haven't worked through your own experience, it might also blur the line between your story and theirs. And in some cases, teens might see it as a loss of parental authority, especially if they're not ready to hear it. So my advice, start by building trust, listening to your teen's needs. If you feel that sharing your story will help them feel understood and hopeful, then go for it, but keep the focus on their recovery, not on yours. And if you're unsure, talk it over with a therapist or wait until you've built a stronger foundation of open communication with your teen. And then the second question, this tends to come more from mothers struggling to accept my son's relapses. It feels like he's not really trying to quit. What should I do? So relapses can be incredibly frustrating, but they are a normal part of recovery, especially for teens. Remember, they're still developing brains, make it harder to resist impulses. And pornography addiction often involves a cycle of progress and then setbacks. First, acknowledge your own emotions, the frustration, the fear, the disappointment. They're valid. Reflect on what's driving those emotions. Are you worried about his future? Are you feeling helpless? Naming these can help you to approach him with more patience. And then focus on empathetic communication. Instead of saying, well, why can't you just stop? Try, I know this is really tough and I'm proud of you for trying. What can I do to help? Celebrate the small wins, like his attending therapy or cutting back on viewing to keep him motivated. And finally, seek professional support for both of you. A therapist can help your teen develop coping strategies. Family counseling can strengthen your relationship. And here's the thing, if relapses persist long-term, even with treatment, or they're paired with serious mental health issues like depression or self-harm or suicidality, or if the risky online behaviors or sexual acting out behaviors accompany it, or if through earnest, persistent effort on your part that your son is simply unwilling to allow you as his parent to have any influence in his life, then it becomes apparent that your son may in fact need a more intensive intervention like Star Guides. But patience is the key. And by showing that you believe in your teen's ability to change, you help them to build resilience and hope. So helping your teen overcome pornography addiction is a journey. It starts with looking inward by reflecting on your own biases, triggers, and experiences. You can approach your teen with empathy and create a safe space for their recovery. This isn't just about helping them. It's about strengthening your relationship and then healing together. You don't have to do this alone. Check out the resources that we've mentioned, the Breaking Free Workbook, which is part of the Recovery Toolbox for Teens, which you can get on the therapyassociates.net website in the bookstore. Check out the Parent Library that's on the blog link on the therapyassociates.net website, or look at some of the programs at Therapy Associates for outpatient support. And as we'd mentioned, for more serious cases where more intensive intervention is needed, take a look at Star Guides, starguides.net. And links to all of these will be in the show notes. If you have questions or experiences to share, I'd love to hear from you. Message me and let me know what topics you'd like to cover in future episodes. Thank you for joining me today, parents. And remember, your efforts as a parent, they matter. And every step that you take brings you and your teen closer to healing. Until next time, take care and keep reflecting.